I'm Chess Moulton, the Stress Master. I presume you've come to this page because you're a teacher who's currently suffering with stress levels that are seriously affecting your work and your life. And you want to do something about it. If that's so, you've come to the right place. For the past 30 years, I've been helping people in all walks of life, professional, academic, public sector, private sector, workers at every level, get their stress under control. So if you're a primary or secondary school teacher, maybe a head of school or a teaching assistant, then I can definitely help you. You know, when I attended school, the idea of teachers becoming stressed out was pretty much unheard of. Today, it's a different matter. Dedicated teachers like yourself are getting signed off in droves by their doctor for chronic stress, with many teachers leaving the profession altogether because they simply cannot handle the job any longer. One piece of research I read estimated 35,000 teachers left the profession last year, and at the same time, there was a 43% drop in applications on teacher training programs. I'm sure that comes as no surprise to you. Another survey suggested that the suicide rate among primary school teachers in England over a 4-year period from 2011 was 42% higher than the wider population. Now that's scary. So what's the issue here? What brings about a problem so debilitating that it affects a teacher like you in a way that limits your ability to function normally? What is it about teaching today that is causing so much stress for primary and secondary school teachers, and even teaching assistants? How can such a problem with stress not only rear its ugly head in the school, but be so strong as to spill over into family, relationships, friends, colleagues, and a whole myriad of physical and mental health problems that result? That's not why you became a teacher, is it? That's certainly not how life is meant to be. One lousy, stress-filled day after another. Yet no one seems to be talking seriously about ways in which you can reverse this seemingly never-ending, out-of-control state. Now, I've read many of the typical reports on how to deal with teacher stress, and all the usual rhetoric about making sure you get a work-life balance, take a proper lunch break, and so on. And I'm left to wonder what teachers they are talking about, because clearly they don't live in the real world. As I see it, a teacher today faces a whole host of issues to deal with, each one having the potential to create rising levels of stress, which can then go on to cause ill health, both mentally and physically. Increased workloads are often blamed for most stress teachers are suffering from. But there is a great deal more to it than that, of course. You're expected to deliver a perfect set of performance results, endure long hours inside and outside the classroom, often with no extra pay, and suffer verbal and often physical abuse from badly behaved children, who are often placed somewhere on an autistic spectrum or diagnosed with ADHD, both of which need behavioral management that teachers neither have the training or indeed the time to deal with. Yet deal with it they must. And there are other factors that I'm sure you could include, such as bulging classroom sizes, lack of resources, and so on and so on. So here you are, a totally stressed out teacher, teaching because that's your job, but also planning, assessing, wading through endless amounts of paperwork during the week, and probably at weekends, and attending parent-teacher meetings. You're expected to be a nutritionist, a social worker, a counselor, health and safety expert, all rolled into one. And I haven't even mentioned about Ofsted breathing down your neck, especially when it comes to inspections and the school rating. Will it be good, excellent, or is it going into special measures? More stress, more stress, more stress. Teacher, is it little wonder your stress level has gone through the roof? Well, without understanding what stress is really all about and how to get control of it? The answer is no. How can you possibly be expected to sort out what you don't even understand? But that's not how it should be, and it's certainly not how it needs to be. And that's where I come in. The simple truth is, I can help you get your stress under control, pushing it back down to the level it needs to be at, where it can help you the most, but do no harm. It was never meant to hurt or harm you anyway. And when your stress level is balanced, a whole new world of understanding can open up to you in terms of well-being, happiness, motivation, focus, all the things a teacher like you wants, needs, and can have if stress control is approached correctly. Now notice I said correctly. There's so much nonsense written and spoken about stress that it's little wonder few teachers have found most approaches to stress control have little or no impact. Do you think changing your diet will have a major effect on your stress levels? Really? Will opening the classroom window, going for a walk, assuming you have the time, or making some kind of affirmations while looking in the mirror and telling yourself, I'm a good teacher and I don't need to be stressed, you think that'll have any influence on the amount of stress you're having to endure? Absolutely not, because diet, fresh air, and chanting didn't feature in causing the stress in the first place. And none of them will relieve it, that's for sure. What then is the answer to your stress problems? How do you eliminate stress? Well, the simple answer is you don't, because that's another uninformed and misguided approach that will never, ever work. That's why the first step in dealing with stress is to know what stress is really all about. I call it the 3 M's of understanding stress. Here's the first M. Stress is not a medical issue. Maybe you've been signed off with long-term stress. Perhaps your GP has prescribed some anti-anxiety or antidepressant medication to help you with your mood or your sleep. But will that eliminate your stress? No way. I can almost guarantee you when you get back to school and once again in the thick of it, the stress will build up once more until it gets out of control, so you get signed off again. It's one of these vicious circles. That's when a lot of teachers decide it's all too much and leave the profession for good. You see, sorting out your stress has nothing whatsoever to do with diet, sleep patterns, or mood. Of course, high levels of stress can lead to all these problems, and yes, we do need to deal with them, but they are not the cause of stress, just the symptoms. So the stress that wasn't a medical issue to begin with has now been sidetracked while the symptoms become the key focus of treatment. And that's supposed to make sense? The second M is that stress is not a mental issue. Like I just said, issues such as anxiety and depression are the result of stress problems, but they are not an inherent part of our mental process. We're not born with depression or anxiety, fears or phobias. They are simply the result of past or present issues, life changes, events, and all manner of experiences that cause the mental health problem. Let me repeat. Depression and anxiety are not built into our brains as a norm. But when it comes to stress, however, it is an innate part of how we are made. As a teacher, I'm sure you've heard of the flight, fight, or freeze syndrome, and how when we are faced with a situation that poses some kind of danger, our stress mechanisms kick in to support our decision to either stay and fight, try to escape, or stay and blend in. When you understand this, you begin to realize that stress is actually a part of our normal body function. It's there at the ready when it needs to be used. We are wired with stress. It only becomes a problem when we don't manage it correctly. So, every instance of our life, no matter how small or insignificant, becomes fight, flight, or freeze. And that's why I teach the universal truth of the matter. You can't get rid of stress. Let me repeat that. You can't get rid of stress. It's been a part of us since birth. But Chess, I hear you say, if I can't get rid of stress, what am I going to do with this stress? Well, it's ruining my life, you say, my career, everything. Well, my answer is the only real answer you'll get from anyone. The problem is not with stress, it's how we are controlling it. That's the real issue. It all comes down to the third M. It's all about management. It's about managing your stress, not trying to eliminate what cannot be extinguished. It's all about getting those stress levels back to their normal state, then managing them so they keep that way, ready to do the job they are intended to do, help us when we need it. In my workshops and seminars I've designed specifically for teachers and teaching assistants, I show you how to manage your stress using strategies that give you the greatest control in the shortest possible time. I leave no stone unturned, but unlike a lot of coaches, while I show you what to do, I also show you how to do it. In my upcoming events for teachers, I'll share with you tried and tested ways of dealing with work, people, children, with behavioral problems and all other stressors you're facing without raising your stress levels. Whether that's within the classroom or outside, peers, friends, family. But even more importantly, I'm going to show you how to manage yourself. I'll show you how to be a better communicator, what to do when your motivation to keep going starts to decline, and how to have healthier relationships with yourself and others. I'll show you how to set up the gold standard of goal setting and implementation, and I'll share a problem-solving technique guaranteed to change your life and your approach to almost everything. I'll also share with you 2 absolutely guaranteed methods of how to get a full night's sleep, because that's one of the symptoms I mentioned earlier that does need to be dealt with. Once you've learned how to get control of your stress and manage it, I believe it will have an incredible impact on your life. Instead of arriving at the school gates dreading the day ahead, you'll have a new vision of what opportunities you'll have as a teacher. You'll have better class outcomes, become a teacher of many facets and skills, and proud of them. Your peers and colleagues will notice a major difference in your whole personality. You will be more relaxed and have more fun with your family and your friends. You'll have more confidence along with increased clarity and creativity. You'll have improved focus on all the important things that matter. And as part of good self-management, know when to say no and when to say stop. Does this sound like the kind of down-to-earth, no-nonsense solution to the unwanted stress you're experiencing right now? You should know that I have the greatest respect and admiration for teachers at whatever level, whatever subject they teach in whatever school they're at. That's why it matters dearly to me that I provide you with the help you need to combat chronic levels of stress. Henry Adams, the American historian, said, "A teacher affects eternity." With that kind of opportunity awaiting you, why let mismanagement and stress hold you back? We all have stress in our lives. We couldn't and shouldn't live without it. Our task is simply to manage it well, and I'm here to help you do it successfully. So forget the silly ideas about getting rid of stress, which will certainly set you up to fail. Instead, invest in learning how to manage it, to serve you and the teaching profession well. Don't be a teacher who is a victim of stress overload. Please let me help you manage it so that you can be the teacher you train to be, want to be, and can be. I hope we can connect, whether it's just through you wanting more information, or maybe we can get to meet in person at one of my events. So here's to mastering your stress. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'm Chess Moulton, the Stress Master.